Vosh, I am
Thanks,
begging
TV
you,
fathers.
stop bad-mouthing Labour. They are our only hope against Tories.
Yeah, I guess the difference is that, like, the Labor Party has done things that might actually break that. The Dems are bad and all, but, like, the big thing with the Dems is that they were kind of unfair to Bernie Sanders in the primary, and the thing with the Labor Party is that they literally self-sabotage the party to get Corbyn out, like, up to the point where, like literally, like, sabotaging the party, like, tearing it apart from the inside, just to get, like, Blairite governance in from within, and then they immediately retracted and reneged on a bunch of principles. The Democrats haven't done anything like that, so I don't know. You know, Corbyn, who was a loser who destroyed us. No, he wasn't. It was the Labor Party. The Labor Party undermined him because they couldn't stand a socialist being at the head. Remember that Blair was friends with Rupert Murdoch, at least until Murdoch's wife cheated on him with Blair. I don't actually know all that drama. Isn't Corbyn also giga pro-Russia? Look, he's not giga pro-Russia. He does the same dumb shit every online lefty does when it comes to Russia. Look, Corbyn has, like, some bad takes or whatever, but, like, let's not pretend he's not better than, like, Tony Blair, okay? Also, it's the self-sabotage. The Democrats have never done anything like this. I guess the real question is, like, is this a point where I would actively say that I think it would be better for Tories to win than for the people who did this to be in power again? Because it's not just a matter of, like, policy on the table. A lot of politics is also trustworthiness. And if the Labor Party is currently captured by people who don't just do, like, the regular liberal thing of being abstemious and weak when it comes to fascism, but will literally, like, tank their own party in response to people like Corbyn. I mean, if that's what we're dealing with here, I don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know. I acknowledge that looking purely at policy, Labor is significantly better than the Tories, but how can you trust anything Labor says when these are the people running it? Like, how can you, like, how do you know? You know, like, what, like, how do you know? I don't know. I've heard people say what the Dems did to Bernie was comparable to what Labor did to Corbyn. Then they're idiots. Then they don't know. Then they have no clue what they're talking about then. They have no idea. What happened to Corbyn was insane. What happened to Bernie was, like, pretty predictable and, like standard internal party, like, political bias. Not to say it's defensible. It's not. But, like, the difference is enormous. How legit are the anti-Semitic accusations against Corbyn? So not only are they largely complete fluff and nonsense, but the Blairites in the Labor Party deliberately worsened them by failing to properly address, like, the media accusations that he was anti-Semitic, and they fanned the flames to make their whole party seem more anti-Semitic, just to make them less electorally viable and give the press something to tear into them for, just because they didn't like the fact that they were being led by Corbyn. Wait, so Labor lost on purpose just to get rid of Corbyn? Yes. Yes. No, explicitly. Yes. That's not an exaggeration or, like, a turn of it. That is actually what they did. Yeah. A huge cache of leaked WhatsApp messages and emails show senior officials from the party's right wing who worked at its HQ became despondent as Labor climbed in the polls. There were literally, like, a gigantic bucket of messages indicating that the Labor Party officials were angry and upset that the Labor Party was doing better because they wanted Corbyn to fail, because they were angry at Corbyn for taking the party in a more leftward direction than Tony Blair. The 860-page document claims that, quote, an abnormal intensity of factional opposition to the party leader had inhibited the proper functioning of the Labor Party bureaucracy and contributed to a litany of mistakes in dealing with anti-Semitism, which it admits was a serious problem within the party. Genuinely insane. As a party member, there was actually pretty bad anti-Semitism under Corbyn. Yeah, they let it get worse. They saw the anti-Semitism angle as, like, a way of getting the media to attack Corbyn, so they deliberately worsened it, both by worsening the conditions and statements of anti-Semitism and failing to address them properly and failing to respond to them properly, which led to worsening it. What do you want leftists in the UK to do? I don't fucking know, dude. Your country's cooked. Holocaust survivor quits Labour after being told not to speak at Memorial Day event. Stephen Kappas has resigned his membership after the party, the Labour Party, told him he would be expelled if he spoke at a Holocaust Memorial Day event organized by a left-wing group. So this isn't under Corbyn's Labour Party. This is under Keir Starmer's Labour Party. This is current Labour Party. What is happening over there, TF? Well, England or Britain, I guess, is like a failed country, and it's like the last stages of a dying empire. So it's because of the group, that's all. What was the group? The Socialist Labor Network. The Socialist Labor Network is a group which the NEC, the National Executive Committee of the party, has determined is incompatible with Labor Party values. Yeah, literally. The Keir Starmer's Labor Party is like, yeah, you can't you can't talk about your Holocaust survival experience because that the group that organized it is leftist, and we hate leftists so much that every other political like belief we have is completely subservient to that. All the stuff that we say about liberals here with like the Democrats here in America, it pales in comparison to like the Tony Blair, the Blairite Labor Party people. It goes beyond just like they're liberals, therefore they're not good when it comes to dealing with fascism or whatever. Opposing socialism is their number one ideological goal. Starmer pretended to be a Corbynite when he was running to be leader. At least Blair was up front with moving the party right. Yeah, I don't endorse like voting for the Labor Party. The idea of like it's not just the Labor Party being like bad or whatever. It's the Labor Party seems to, at first principle, be an anti-socialist organization and will do anything within the purview of their power to ensure that socialism or even like left progressivism takes no root in the UK, and everything else is secondary. Would you rather the Tories win? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, past the point, like the lesser of two evils thing, like it's really blurry, man. Like that seems like controlled opposition. It's like so bad that I genuinely don't even know what the point, what the like meaningful ideological distinction is. I don't know, vote for the Lib Dems or something. It's a parliamentary system. Bosch, how do you not know Labour is better than Tories, even if only marginally? Okay, for one, the UK is a parliamentary system. There are other parties. For two, even if it's marginal, then a marginal difference might actually warrant like directing power towards the Lib Dems. And for three, I don't even know if Labour is better than the Tories. Like, actually, I genuinely don't. I like there is no way to trust the party. I can trust the American Democrats to be like neoliberal at worst, maybe collaborationist through abstemiousness at their absolute worst, and like maybe at their best, maybe like progressive liberal or light social democrat. Like there's a range that I can expect there, but it seems like there is no range with the Blairites or like the Starmerites or whatever. It's just purely like nothing. They have nothing. They believe nothing. They were just angry that Corbyn led the party. They'll tear everything apart. They will actively give the election over to the Tories if it means that a socialist loses. Under those circumstances, like, is it really that much better? Genuinely, I genuinely don't know. Like, that's when I say I don't know, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know. What do you think of the Greens? I don't know. If they're anything like the American Greens, they're worthless. Vosh, you're actually talking shit right now. Where are you getting your from? Wait, what am I saying that's inaccurate? At all? What am I saying that's inaccurate? We literally have we just looked at this right here. What do you... We had it right here. Reminder that Starner admitted there's not a single instance of trans violence, but plans to repress them anyway. Yeah. Like, Starner lied about everything running up to this, and now it just seems like he wants to be the other Tory party. At least the Tories are honest about being Tories, as opposed to the Labour Party, which seems to be dishonest about being Tories. Theresa May outflanked Starner. The UK is absolutely cooked. Jesus fucking Christ. Theresa May says she's woke and proud, outflanking the Labour Party. That's grim. Good for her. Good for her. Angela Rayner's New Deal for working people is very good, though. It seems like any vestige of actual progressivism and labor interests in the Labour Party can only exist when like tightly constrained by Keir Starmer and the Blairites in the party. Like, there can't be any authentic progress from them. Everything is optical. Everything is like a show. Even if she's liked, it's just so bad. I genuinely think that if Joe Biden, like in his current form, was the head of the Labour Party, they would do the same thing to him that they did to Corbyn. Genuinely. Like, they are so far right compared to, this is reactionary politics. Some Labour bigwigs do a bad thing, and Vosh attacks an entire party. What is going on in your head? What is wrong with you people? They weren't some Labour bigwigs. They were the party. The party did that. It wasn't some people in the party. It was the apparatus of the party was committed enough to this plan of action that they succeeded. Biden is legit to the left of the Labour Party right now. Yes, significantly so, yes. Labour supports universal health care and Biden doesn't? No, they don't. You seriously believe Keir Starmer supports universal health care? The British people are defensive of the NHS, but Keir Starmer is going to be just as willing to contribute to its commodification and privatization as it has been for the past like 50 years. You know, like Keir Starmer did not like sacrifice everything to oust a socialist and throw things over to the Tories for like 5 years and then take power and then like immediately perpetuate culture war talking points against trans people, only for him to go like, actually, yeah, you know, I'm actually pro. Like even Tories say that they're pro NHS at times. It's not the same. Braverman says she dreams of sending refugees to Rwanda. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember. That was a classic. Just from late August. Suella Braverman has said the government will do, quote, whatever it takes if its plans to send asylum seekers to Rwanda is, quote, thwarted in Strasbourg, and confirmed the government is considering fitting some migrants with electronic tags. That's cool. Suella Braverman was forced to resign under Liz Truss for breaking the ministerial code, and Rishi Sunak brought her back in his home secretary anyway. Yeah. The Right Honourable Suella Braverman, by the way, in case you were wondering. It's the Right Honourable. Labour urged to reject NHS privatization after West Streeting visit. Streeting has repeatedly made clear that if Labour wins the next UK general election, they would use private companies to tackle NHS waiting lists. Cool. In a press release published on Friday, Labour said it has, quote, committed to using private sector capacity to bring down NHS waiting lists in the short term as part of its national mission to build an NHS fit for the future. That is, there when people need it, by training the next generation of NHS staff and modernizing the health service. It comes after the UK government announced 8 new private sector-run diagnostic centres in the NHS of England, as well as a relaxation of the rules governing the awarding of NHS contracts to private companies. So basically, the shadow health secretary for the Labour Party, after a bunch of privatization of the NHS, was like, yeah, we also have a plan. We'll also privatize more of the NHS so that we can build a better NHS for the future. Yeah, dude, they're literally just Tories, dude. They're Tories. They're just more Tories. Oh my god. Use private sector more for NHS patients. Labour. Nice. How are the anti-trans vibes in the Labour Party? The Labour Party is anti-trans. Keir Starmer, in a desperate bid to try to appeal to the center and to the right, just like went on with multiple interviews with journalists and just like awkwardly was like, yeah, I'm not transphobic, but like a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and like just sort of insincerely belted out like he wrote it on his hand beforehand. It's like, what should I say? Just standard politician appeal to the right bullshit. Actual question, is there a normal UK party that, like, I don't know, supports trans existing? Yep, the Lib Dems. The Lib Dems right now are the only major party, though significantly less major than the Cons or Labour, that have an official pro-trans position. Yeah. No, the Lib Dems are transphobic too. I'm pretty sure I saw that the official position of the Lib Dem Party on trans people is like liberal acceptance. And the SNP, yeah, but that's the Scottish, yeah. Yeah, the SNP. But obviously the SNP aren't exactly going to get like a winning bid in London or whatever.
Lots of questions coming in on gender. You may or may not be pleased to know. Mr. Starmer, what is a woman? If you don't say she's an adult female, I shall not vote Labour, as I have all my life. That's from Merrill in Leicester. Another one for Sakir. Has his party decided on the definition of what a woman is? And has the Labour Party policy on single-sex spaces and trans rights changed? What is it? And another one, could you ask Sakir if he ever thought...
Yeah, this is on state radio, by the way. This is where Britain is at right now. The Labour Party, the Labour Party, like, stabs itself in the leg to oust Corbyn, loses to the Conservatives on purpose. Then Keir Starmer comes up, kid starver, you know, and now he's now like a state radio host is like, can you explain to me your position on what are women, adult human females? Also, how do you feel about 1350? You know.
He'd be stumped over the question, what is a woman?
No.
You all struggle with it, the penis question, don't you?
Look,
this is, again, BBC Radio 5 questioning potential future prime minister. You all struggle with the penis question, don't you? This is the state of Britain right now. This is why, like, I'm struggling to care. You know that support for trans people has dropped by like 20 points over the past 5 years in Britain? Like, you dying empire vibes. You have nothing. Your economy is dead. Your culture is dead. Your latest seasons of Doctor Who is dead. You do nothing. You contribute nothing. America's over your shitty accents. Escape the island. Go out, okay? France is a real country. It sucks, but it's a real country, all right? In Spain, real country. Germany, real country. They suck in their own ways, but they're real countries. The UK is not a real country.
Firstly, a woman is an adult female, so let's clear that one up. Firstly, a woman is an adult female.
Remember, Joe Biden's answer to this question, to how many genders are there, was at least 3. That is how big the difference is.
So let's clear that one up. So we've set out that we want to modernise the process, get rid of some of the indignities in the process, keep it a medical process, and we've always said and continue to say. And Sunday, when we completed our policy forum, allowed us to be clear that there should be safe spaces for women, particularly in relation to violence against women and girls. And when I was Director of Public Prosecution, spent a lot of time dealing with cases of violence against...
Genuinely, like, I do not have hope for the future of the UK. This isn't sarcasm. Maybe Scotland. Scotland has, like, enough of an independent will and enough of a national identity that they might be able to pull something together. But legitimately, at the very least for, like, Wales and England, I do not have hope for the future of that country. I don't. Maybe Northern Ireland. I don't know. I don't. Everything that I see, it just looks like dying, dead, dying, dead, nothing, empty. Did you know that income inequality in England is actually greater on a regional basis than it is in the United States? Like, outside of London, which is where like 99.9% of British wealth is concentrated, outside of that, it's all like a f***ing Appalachia out there. Seriously, no, like borderline. Like in America, yeah, a lot of our wealth is concentrated in our cities, sure, but it's not like as anywhere near as bad as it is in England. It's like you go past the city and it's just destitute out there.
Women and girls, and therefore feel very strongly about these safe spaces for women.
And why are trans women? Are you saying they're disproportionately likely to be violent in these situations? I don't understand. What are you saying?
No, I think that it's more that biological women who've been subject to violence against women and girls want a safe space where they can...
Notice how he just said there's no evidence that trans women are more likely to commit violence in women's spaces than cis women are. He just said essentially, no, there's no evidence of potential harm. However, like, due to the feelings of transphobes, we have to do legal discrimination.
Safe from what?
Well, a safe space where they can feel that they are, properly supported and protected.
See, look, he can't even say like safe from being raped by trans women or safe from being assaulted by trans women, because he's just acknowledged there's no actual evidentiary basis for these policies. He's literally just saying, because people are bigoted against trans people, we need to be bigoted against trans people. That is actually the argument that the Labour Party potential prime minister is making right here. That is the actual statement that he is making. No evidentiary basis. At least American Republicans pretend trans women have actually done something to earn the discrimination. They're wrong, but like, at least the presumption from American Republicans is trans women should be kept from these spaces because they're dangerous. Whereas he's just flatly stating they should be kept from these spaces because people are bigoted towards them. Insane.
And this comes from the tales of survivors.
Why wouldn't they be properly and supported and protected? I don't understand. Why wouldn't that be the case?
Well, I think the Scottish prisoner case probably answers that question in terms of...
There are a lot of...
Wasn't the Scottish prisoner case like one trans woman was seen like showering naked in the public showers that all prisoners use? And there were people who were saying, I feel so threatened because I saw her penis. And she didn't do anything? Am I thinking of a different case, or am I remembering the case where nothing happened and there was a former prisoner who was just like, yeah, she took a shower and her dick was out, and like, yeah, I don't know. No, it is that one. Different case? Is it the same or a different case? Because there's been a lot of these nothing cases. I remember the Scottish prisoner case, and I remember being a big bucket of nothing at the time. I don't remember if that's the specific kind of nothing.
People in the Isla Bryson was the name of the person. You think there are a lot of examples of that?
I'm not saying there's a lot of examples of that.
See, nothing. He doesn't believe in anything. Keir Starmer doesn't believe in anything, and for that reason, he might be more dangerous than the Tories. I mean that. Genuinely, I mean that. This is the point. Like, trustworthiness is huge in politics, okay? It's very, very, very important. We trust Republicans to lie, to be fascists when they actually take office, to do what they can to destabilize democracy, no matter what they say. We trust Democrats to overstate their progressive tendencies and actually operate as neoliberals when they enter power. In his case, like, his shift from, yeah, I'm going to be the next herald of socialism in the UK, leading the Labour Party, to whatever the this is, there's no reason to believe him on anything, you know? He's very, very dangerous. Oh, and by the way, the TERF narrative is bullshit. The people who overwhelmingly hate trans people in the UK, it's men. Women are still majority positive on trans rights and trans acceptance. It's men. It is men, it's the British media who have colluded with each other to present this is what dying empires do. The UK, as everyone knows, is worth nothing, contributes nothing, is culturally dead, is economically dead, and has been for a long time. So what do you do to rile people up, to rile interest up, to present the interests of the moneyed class? Well, you have to go after a minority group, obviously. We've been doing that pattern for literal fucking millennia, you know? So why not trans people? So the British media colluded, private and public elements, because the BBC is 100% in on this shit, and they have done exactly what the right in America has tried to do, but more successfully. The right has won in the UK. In America, the majority of young people and of people broadly still lean towards progressive answers on trans people. Here in America, the whole right-wing culture war against trans people has led to maybe a 3 or 4 point shift downwards in support for our issues when it comes to trans people, but we still have a majority. Over in the UK, it was like a 25 point shift with men. I think like a 20 point shift with everyone. It's insane. The right-wing media won over there. Disgusting fucking country. The British media is incredibly influential in the electorate. Yeah, that's because the average British person is submissive and authoritarian by nature. Your prim, posh, keep it all to yourself bullshit cultural narrative leads to all of you being naturally submissive when it comes to the words and messages and narratives given to you by people in power. You guys, unironically, had a king's coronation ceremony recently. What is wrong with you? The queen died and you didn't trash it then? You actually went ahead with the king thing? Unbelievable. So yes, the average Brit, you know, they do whatever stupid wagey cagey bullshit they need to do to get through the day. Their economy is a lot worse than ours too. So presumably, you know, the British experience, okay? The British experience says you have a medical problem and you've been in a waiting list for 6 years for it because they privatized the NHS. You go out there and work your job where you get paid marginally more on average than the average American, but then you go home and spend $600 on the electricity bill for the evening. And then you turn on the television and all of the wealthiest people in England who unironically get referred to as the right honorable then explain to you through a microphone or through their subsidiaries how everything that's wrong in your life is a product of people not listening to the nuanced grievances that cisgender women have about transgender women. And this actually worked. This actually worked. And these degenerate, loser, subhuman, fucking wasted empire people. If you are in the UK and you are a human being, if blood still courses through your body, get the out if you can, okay? There is no hope for your blighted land. It's over. It's over. It's just over. The UK media is infested with TERFs, despite the fact that women are significantly more pro-trans than men in the UK. The only reason it's infested with TERFs is because largely male, largely wealthy individuals are elevating a small number of voices in order to like disseminate their hatred through the thin veneer of like progressive pseudo-feminist or like, you know, oh, it's women's experiences. It'd be like if the right wing had an entire fleet of Candace Owens and people are like, you know, black women really are getting tired of the democratic plantation. Black women really do feel as though Hitler gets too much of a bad rap, you know? This is a real opinion that black women in America have. They think Hitler has just not been treated fairly by the mainstream media. That is unironically what's happening over there. I feel like you guys are so sensitive to the Bernie or bust like rhetoric that when I employ it in a completely different context, you pick up on some of the comparisons, like the similarities, and you think, oh, he's doing the thing, not understanding that the problem with the Bernie or bust logic is not like existential aversion to the concept of not voting for the lesser evil, and is rather specific and contextualized within the American political space. Whereas if you go over to what Keir Starmer is doing, it's like, holy shit, man, I don't know. The Tories or Labour will win, though. I genuinely Do not see much of a difference between either of those cases. I know that people are going to say, but their policies are different. Their policy proposals are different. Everything that Keir Starmer and the Labour Party has done over the past few years has given me absolutely no reason to believe that they're not just controlled opposition. They literally let the Tories win over letting Corbyn win. Like, they are so in line with conservative interest that they preferred the Conservatives winning over Corbyn being the leader of the Labour Party as they won. Like, I have no reason to trust them, to believe them. There is no comparison within this in American politics. The Dems have not done anything like this. There is no comparison. It's insane. It's genuinely insane. Labour is way better on climate change. They say they are. Sure. Well, what are they actually going to do? I don't know. I don't know what they're actually going to do. It seems like every time they indicate where their values actually lie.
Well, look, I mean, I want to reduce poverty and inequality. I didn't go into politics, but how do you do that? What are the practical things that we can do?
Well, your suggestion in that quote was to tax the banks more and those earning more than £100,000 more, but you've gone back on that.
Well, look, the way that I think that we can lift people out of poverty and reduce inequality, as I say, is to get the economy growing, and that has been the missing ingredient these last 13 years. Now, you know, Phil sort of says, oh, I'm an ex-banker. Yes, I am an ex-Bank of England economist, and the one thing I learned more than anything at the Bank of England is your sums have always got to add up. And what we saw less than a year ago was a Prime Minister and a Chancellor who decided to throw that very simple truth that your sums have got to add up out of the window. And where does that
first
leave
anniversary
us?
of Liz Truss today.
First anniversary today. And the damage that was done in those 44 or whatever it is short days is immense. And that damage...
Last week, Labour pushed back their commitment to investing $28 billion in green energy by 2 years. Oh, so much for being good on climate issues.
Was done because she thought the rules of economics didn't apply to her, and so did Kwasi Kwarteng. And we have paid a heavy price for that experiment. And I will never play fast and loose with the public finances, because the people who pay the consequences of that are ordinary working people and some of the poorest people in society who are now facing higher rents, higher mortgages, almost the collapse of the UK pension market because of...
I remember very well, because 30...
This question, you know the economist that she quoted? That was actually you.
Well, look, I mean, I want to reduce poverty and inequality. I didn't go...
Okay, yeah, she's... Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey says the phrase woman, adult, human, female doesn't really encapsulate the debate. A trans woman is a woman, a trans man is a man.
What is wrong with this phrase? Woman, adult, human, female.
Well, Liberal Democrats believe that trans rights are really important because...
That's the leader of... there's the Lib Dems, okay? Just remember what we just watched with Keir Starmer. That's the Lib Dems.
Trans people are some of the most discriminated against in our society today. Huge health problems, high suicide rate, and I think everybody ought to worry about that. The real issue, I think, is the toxification of the debate. There was a time...
What's wrong with that phrase? Woman, adult, human.
See, again, this is like the state of British media as well. Like, hey, adult, human, female. What's wrong with that? Huh? Like they're interviewing like powerful politicians, and like this is legitimately what they're getting.
I've made it clear what our position was on trans rights. No one can criticise me for that. What I'm concerned about is on this issue, we have been working cross-party in the past. I've worked with Conservative MPs who agree with me, Labour MPs who agree with me. What's changed is Boris Johnson coming to number 10. Boris Johnson has toxified this debate. He set up a culture war unit in number 10.
We've jumped from a phrase to Boris Johnson. I do want to come back.
Oh, wait. This is a 2-year-old thing. Did the Lib Dems update their statement on transphobia? Holy shit. What is this statement? Oh, my God. Statement lefty meme. No, this is still actually better than the Labour Party stance. This is basically saying, like, hey, we don't tolerate transphobia, which includes like abusing them or trying to take their rights away, but also you have a free speech right to be gender critical. It seems like this is like a cowardly, worthless fucking concession, but it's still actually better than the Labour Party. Incredible. Even this, like the weakened Liberal Democrat position is better than the Labour Party position. How does the gender critical group have such a chokehold in UK politics? It doesn't. It's just conservatives. They do the same thing over here. people like J.K. Rowling, who, by the way, just cavort and deal with, like, far-right and Nazi types all the time with no problems at all. This isn't, like, gender-critical ideology. This isn't a kind of feminism or whatever. The majority of women in the UK are pro-trans. It's overwhelmingly men who are anti-trans. They're elevating a very small subset of voices in order to cloak the fact that this is just another conservative culture war against a minority. It's right-wing media behavior. It's not like there are a bunch of TERFs running around over the UK. That's fake. That's what they want you to believe. First of all, TERFs aren't real. But the transphobes are overwhelmingly right-wing, and right-wing people are going to go to the most right-wing candidate. The fact that Keir Starmer is appealing towards transphobes and the gender-critical types as a way of bolstering his numbers is pathetic and indicative of him having no real principles. Vosh, you are the guy in 2016 who says Hillary is not better than Trump. The fact that you're making this comparison is indicative of just like a complete disinterest in investigating my arguments on your part. This is anti-intellectualism from you. It's pathetic. I do not make my videos and make this channel, purely so I can be fabulously wealthy. That's a lovely side effect. But the real reason, I would hope, is because I want people like you to not act the way you're acting right now. Okay? You need to stop. All right? The anti-intellectualism, this like, oh, well, this sounds kind of like Bernie or bust. So, like, you're not listening. Try harder. Yeah, also, the Tories are nowhere near as much of a threat as the American Republicans for a wide variety of reasons.